Hey y'all, it's Peaches. Welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are ready for my filing and shaping routine because we gonna get started. So this is purely application, no filing, no nothing. This is just what it looks like after I lay my acrylic. And we are gonna go ahead and hop into e-filing. This is the same routine I use on everybody all the time, all day long. So you can see I kind of personally hold the nail in the finger at like odd angles, so that way I can get around the cuticle area. I don't even know how to explain this. I can do like an in-depth e-filing routine one day so that I can further go into like detail, because I really don't know how to explain this at the moment. But yeah, so I basically go around the cuticle, I go under the nail just to like further like enhance the curve and make sure the curve is the same on each and every nail. And I go into the C-curve area so that way I can thin it out. So when I go ahead and file with my hand file, the filing I do like vertically, it's gonna thicken it up basically. So I don't want it to be too thick, so that's why I'm thinning it out a lot now, so that way later on it's not gonna be too thick. So you guys, I'm so sorry for my voice. I just woke up not too long ago. It's currently about to be 10:30 a.m. Okay, so yeah, you guys can see like my work is already pretty nice and neat, I feel like. So me filing is just perfecting it basically. So I don't have to really do too much. I'm really just being super anal at this point. I like for my shape to be as good and nice as possible. So that's why I still even take my time on filing, even though I really don't have to file that much. I just like to double make sure, because I don't want to post no booth looking pictures, you know. So I used to actually file first with the hand file and then go in with the e-file. But for me personally, what I found is that I felt like I was like taking some of the crispness away, because the way the e-file goes all around the finger, I feel like sometimes it ended up rounding out some areas or just like changing some areas that I already shaped. So that's why I kind of do it, I guess, backwards from what some people would do. So I just go ahead and file around the cuticle area, the apex area. You can see what my apex areas look like for short nails. Her nails actually came out really cute. She was a nail model for something that I had advertised on my Instagram, so she only paid $60 for this set. And yeah, it came out really cute. I'm so glad that she came through, and she was a new client, so I was like very excited about that. So yeah, I just go over the nail as a whole just because, I don't know, just to make sure everything, I guess, is smooth, even though it already is. I just try and make sure everything fits together. That way when I hand file, there's only certain stuff I have to worry about, if that makes sense. So yeah, it doesn't take too much time to do the e-filing process. This is real time, by the way. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. This is by real time speed. Real time. So it's different for each person, because, you know, some days I'm working slower because of my hands, like if I have any pain in my hands. Sometimes, I mean, you really don't need to file that much around the cuticle area. You know, sometimes you might have to work on the apexes more, or whatever. Anything can add on to like how long it takes. But yeah, generally speaking, this is accurate for my day-to-day. So for the other hand, I ended up speeding it up just because it's pretty self-explanatory, and also because like the main parts of this video is actually the shaping parts with my hand file. But I just wanted to add this in because so far on my channel I have not shown any filing at all, and I'm still new, so I'm still trying to figure out what content works best for my nail channel and what's gonna like bring in other people to other videos, because I know there are people that like to watch the full routine and some people just like to watch design. So right now I'm trying to include a little bit of everything so that if anybody gets attracted to my channel, they can find something that they might like, you know? So yeah, we're just gonna speed on through this. You can see I'm doing the same exact steps. Also, I only use sanding bands. The only time I switch drill bits is if I need a coarse one to file through acrylic before a soak off. So that way I can file it to somewhat of a thin layer, so that way it's quicker for soak off. But other than that, I prep with a medium grit sanding band, and this is the same sanding band that I prepped with. So I prep with it, and then I pretty much do all my filing with it. And I know some people say like, oh, well, you need to have a fine grit bit, but that's not true. I mean, yeah, it's finer, and it's like the way it fits between the nail and the cuticle area, like it's a smaller space, because, you know, a drill bit looks a little bit bulkier or whatever. But if you're laying your acrylic properly, it doesn't matter, you know? And I don't know, I've used them before and thought I was gonna like it. I personally don't care for it. And it just, I don't know, it's just not for me. This feels smoother to me. And you can see the way I slant against the apex while I'm going around the cuticle area. It just, I don't know, it's just a certain look that I like, you know? So I go ahead on all the nails, make sure that none of the apexes are just sitting there. That's what you do not want. That is not going to give you a perfect looking nail. You want it to be like just the slightest little, what is that called? Like slightest little slope up to the apex. Not too much, but you don't want it to start out too flat. So don't overfile it, and you don't want it to just be a hump right at the cuticle area, because then you will not be able to fit there and file. So that's another tip for you guys. Okay, so now we're going to get into my hand filing routine. So you can see how I pull the sidewalls back, I pull the skin back, and I really get up into the sides of the nail. That is how you get a perfectly shaped nail. I see a lot of people, like no tea, no shade, I'm just pointing out what I see, okay? A lot of people, they only shape the nail tip from where it starts after the finger. So see how I get all the way up into like up by the cuticle area? A lot of people don't do that. And like once I started realizing that over time, because I've been doing nails for 1.5 years now, and I probably realized it maybe, let's say, like 7 months into doing nails, but I really didn't get to understand, like, okay, you understand it, you get it, but if your acrylic is not laid as nice and as crisp as it needs to, it's only gonna look so good, you know? So, sometime last year, okay, like over the summertime, almost into fall, is really when my acrylic application starting to get very good, really nice. So that way when I did this, what you see right here, I'm getting up, basically almost filing all the way up to the cuticle area and the sidewall area. It actually made a difference, and it actually shaped the entire nail, you know? So I also go up and down like that because I like a certain, you can see from the side, I like a certain little kind of slope to the nail. And then you will see me go on the front, like the tip of the nail, and I'll file that on the surface as well, so that way the tip is not too, I'm sorry guys, this right here, so the tip is not too thick, okay? But the most important part of shaping, to get a perfect shape, especially square, a perfect square shape, because that is what I'm known for, you need to get up into those nail walls, pull the skin back, file up against the acrylic, okay? You're not filing away at the real nail or anything like that. There is acrylic there if you're getting your acrylic laid onto the hole of the nail, okay? File up against that acrylic. Keep your file parallel, and boom. Do you see how like square that is already? It will help you so much because you need to be able to see all parts of the finger, like on both sides of the acrylic nail. So that is how you will know, like, okay, is this nail shaped to the finger? Because if you cannot see like the skin on both sides of the acrylic nail, then that means you've got some bulkiness, okay? You do not want to see like bulkiness at the cuticle area, and then it slims out starting right after where the nail starts. It's not going to give you a perfect shape. It needs to be like, you see how it's like a straight line from the cuticle area all the way down to the free edge of that nail? That's what you want. Okay, so get it up in there, pull the skin back, find whatever way you need to pull the skin back. I use all my fingers to do this, really. And you just go in for it. Now, I forgot to mention, I use 80/80 grit files. So that's what I like to file with. That's what I'm comfortable with. They keep their grit throughout the whole entire process, which is a reason why I use them. I also file vertically. I don't know if you just saw what I did. Not this. Y'all know what this is, but yeah, I do file the tip a little bit. This right here. I file vertically because sometimes you need that to be able to see. I'm trying to get that straight, like linear line. So sometimes you need to file vertically to get into little areas without cutting somebody. Or if you need to get into a specific area. Okay, so like, see right there, I'm trying to specifically get into like right where the finger is at. And I just need that specific area. So you need to learn how to use your file so that way it can like do the work for you. And so that way you know what parts of your file to use for what. That's going to really change your game, okay? For reals. So I'm going under the nail just to make sure no pieces are like curved a certain way. I really don't know how to explain it, but it's just a look that I can see. And I do not stop shaping until I feel like the shape is as good as I can get it. So usually the thumbs are pretty easy, you guys. I don't know why it is, but I really like thumbs. I like the way the apex sits on them. I really like doing the thumb. I don't know. But you can see the thumb is usually a little easier. Well, if your acrylic is laid correctly, the thumb is easier because it's just a single finger. Like, you don't have to worry about trying to hold the whole hand. Oh, I was stretching my opponent's area is what that's called, because it gets tight and it gets start to hurt from gripping. So that's what that was. But yeah, here we are filing to get the perfect shape. Okay, so now for this is just me kind of crisping them up. Now I will say for this, I used to do this a lot and try and like even out the free edges to make sure they're all the same size and length and to make sure they're straight. So with this you're gonna have to hold your file a particular way, because if you slope it down too much, when you look from the side, the underneath is gonna be kind of effed up. But if you don't like put your file the correct way, it's always gonna, one side is still gonna stay uneven than the other. So this can take time to get right, so that way you actually get a crisp look. And yeah, I just compare the length as I do this. And I don't use a lot of pressure because I'm not trying to shorten the nails, I'm just trying to even them out. So I'm trying to straighten the edge, the free edge, so it's just like a perfectly straight line. It's not like one side is tilted up than the other. And I'm making sure they are all the same length, which sometimes either the ring finger or the middle finger can be longer just because they're the longest fingers. And that's why, me personally, I measure them a million times throughout my process, because it may have looked straight. I mean, not straight. It may have looked the perfect length when you cut them. But as you go along the process, you can kind of realize like, oh, maybe I wasn't holding the cuticle of this hand to the same as that hand when you cut it, so it's off a little bit. So little stuff like that can happen. And you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm basically taking my file and going on the top surface of the nail to once again thin out the C-curve area, or like make sure it's not too thick. You see, just because we filed overhead like that, it's gonna shorten them just a teeny tiny bit and thicken the acrylic. Well, it's not gonna thicken the acrylic, but it's gonna take away the part that was like at the thinnest point, and now it's just, yeah, revealing the thicker points of the nail. So here we are again. You can see, get in there. Now be careful not to cut nobody, and always have your first aid stuff on hand, because it happens, okay? It can happen. It can happen to anybody. Nobody is immune. So you can see how I put the file there, and then I turn it like, put the file there, and then I'll turn it inwards, like towards the nail a little bit. It's so that way I am making sure I'm only filing acrylic and I'm keeping it off of the skin. So place your file in the position that you want it to be, but then you could rotate it. I don't want to say rotate. How do I say that? So put it parallel against the nail. Okay, like this. And then you see how it's like, see that? How I kind of rotated it just a little bit? It's so that way I know, okay, I'm filing on the nail, I'm not on the skin. So it's basically like positioning the file a little higher up, but still on the sidewall, so you don't cut nobody. There you go. Especially when doing this, because, you know, it's gonna take you a few times if you're a beginner trying to do this method, I guess. So that way you just you're not cutting people left and right, so they bleeding, and then, you know, the pictures look all cut up, and that ain't what you want. So yeah, just keep going. I accidentally, sometimes I'll be filing and like the file will slip out, so that's why I kind of like pet her like that, like, oh girl, sorry. Like, I didn't cut her or nothing, but it's just, some people are sensitive to like what the grit feels like, even though it's all dulled down, but still, you know, you got to show some care, some compassion, just in case, because you don't want nobody leaving, you know, bad reviews, or telling their homegirls don't come over there because she mean. But yeah, I really just be rotating people's fingers and really grabbing them up. Oh my gosh, because I need to get the right everything. I would encourage you to look from every angle, so that way you can see how's the apex doing. Oh, sorry y'all. How's all the parts of the nail doing as you're filing, because you don't want to just keep filing something and you're not seeing it as a whole or from every angle, and now one side is over filed, the other side is not filed enough. Like, it's gonna cost so much more work for you, which is why it is important to lay your acrylic as nicely as possible, so that way it lessens that chance, you know. So just make sure you look at all angles, all directions. Now I do want to point out, because these nails are a shorter length, in my chair this is where medium starts, okay? So anything shorter than this would actually be categorized as short, just because of number one, my personal preference is that this is straight up short because I wear my nails so long. But to most girls, this is like a medium length, especially girls who are used to wearing their nails short, or if this is the longest that they go. So this is what I consider the start of the medium lengths, okay? Because my long length is right underneath the number on the tip, on a regular tip, okay? So for this medium short length, right, it is important that you really just pay attention to what you're doing, because there's not too much room for error. So let's say one area is slanted than the other or whatever, you're gonna notice because they're shorter. Like, yeah, if they're longer, you can notice as well, but you can fix it a little bit better. Like, there's not too much to work with. So just keep in mind when you're shaping shorter lengths that you are really putting your back into it. Because when they are short, there's a tendency, just from what I see, there's a tendency to not shape into the nail wall, the nail area, and into the sidewalls like I was showing you guys. Like, they don't take it up all the way shaping the nail. They will do it on a long nail. Some people will do it on a long nail, but when it comes to short nails, often they are really bulky, and so this is how I prevent any bulkiness. This is how I prevent it from just looking like, oh, you slapped that acrylic on there. So that's why I'm extra adamant about that. I feel like, some people, they do not do short nails. It's a part of their policy. It's in their Instagram bio. I don't feel that way. To me personally, I feel like that's not really fair, because doing short nails, if you can do that, you can do a lot of different lengths. And people appreciate the fact that they can come and get a nice looking nail no matter the length, So, it's really to each their own. I just thought I would point that out so that way you guys know where I'm coming from and my thought process behind like why I go into so much detail and depth with shaping, especially on a short nail. So I want everybody to be able to get their practice in on shorter nails, okay? So I buff the nails. I like to buff the nails. I don't know. I like how it feels. It helps to start getting some of the extra dust out of certain areas. I just swipe underneath the nail to get out excess nail tip, because when you do file the tips and then go with acrylic, the nail tip part is what you filed previously. It's under there no matter what. So I just like to try and flick that out so it don't get stuck in top coat or anything like that. And I don't know, it just smooths it out, I guess. I don't know. Because to be honest, I really don't have to do this, but I just like to. So this is the underneath view. You can see my application was like almost flawless. Like I said, this right here, well, I don't say almost flawless. It's really good, okay? It's really good. So that is just extra nail tip left over. That's just what happens. It happens on each and every person. I like to go underneath and get that out because I don't want people walking around looking at their nails, picking at them. You should just be able to leave and that's it, So I do this on both hands. And then after this, she would wash her hands and, sorry y'all. I'm so tired. After this, she would wash her hands, brush them with the nail brush, some soap, come back to me, and that's when I put on the foil. I put on those 3D flowers. I did the outline around the nail. And top coat. I really, really enjoyed this design, this set in general. It was really cute. I want to do like monochromatic looks in every color. That's what I'm feeling like for spring. So I will be asking for a lot of nail models, okay? But that is the end of the video. Here is the final result of my shaping. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it helped someone. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.